All right, so we got 2/5 times 2.5 plus 5/8 times 3 1/5. Now, got to think about PEMDAS, I guess, a little bit because we have some different operations in this, and we got to do our operations in order. We do have a multiplication here because it's a number beside a parentheses, and we have a multiplication here, and we have an addition. So I can see three operations: a multiply, add, multiply, right? So let's make sure we follow PEMDAS, and let's multiply first. Okay with that? And then we'll add. Well, yes, in parentheses we have like 2.5 and we have 3 1/5, but there's like nothing to really do there. However, we might strategically want to turn those improper fractions to mixed numbers turn those mixed numbers to improper fractions, because then I'll have a fraction times a fraction, which is usually more fun. So there's lots of ways of doing this, but that's one tactic we can employ. So if I was to turn the 2.5 into a fraction, what would it look like? Right, so you go 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5, so that's 5/2. In other words, 2.5 is the same thing as 5 halves. Like if I had 1, 2, 2.5 pizzas, right? Here's one pizza, here's another pizza, and here's a half of a pizza. It's 2 1/2 pizzas. But that's the same as 5 halves, because look, if I split them all into half, I've got, here's a 1/2 of a pizza, here's another half, here's another half, that's 3 halves, that's 4 halves, that's 5 halves. So 2.5 pizzas is the same thing as 5 halves, right? So that's that. Okay, so similarly, we'll have a similar tactic with the 3 1/5. Turn that into a fraction. Good job, yeah. 5 times 3, 15, plus 1, 16/5. And now we have these fractions multiplied, these fractions multiplied. You're not making a mistake by multiplying the tops and the bottoms. Like 5 times 16 is 80, 8 times 5 is 40, and 80/40. That's fine, but it's more efficient and a bit more skillful to actually cross-cancel before we multiply. So let's go ahead and cross-cancel what we can here first. Yep. Lovely. Yep. And so that gives us 1 times 1 over 1 times 1. What's that? Yep, just 1. You can write 1 over 1 if you want, but it's just 1. Cross-cancel here and we get what? 8 and 8. Yep, 8 and 8 goes once, 8 and 16 goes twice. Yep. 5 and 5 goes once, 5 and 5 goes once. So we have 1 times 2 over 1 times 1, which makes 2 over 1, which is this 2. Perfect. So 1 plus 2 is 3, and that's the answer. Done. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, at this point, you guys could have, if you really wanted, 2 times 5 is 10, 5 times 2 is 10, and this makes 5 times 16 is 80, and 8 times 5 is 40. Now, what's 10 over 10? And what's 80/40? 2. And that makes 3. So that's fine. It's just more efficient to cross-cancel. And I want you guys to practice that skill anyway. It's just a good skill to have. Right? Because sometimes it gets really complicated if you're not cross-canceling. What else could we have done? If we wanted to, we could have gone 2/5 times, 2 plus a half. That's fine. It makes it a little bit more messy, though, because you end up with like 2/5. You can do distributive property. 2/5 times 2 over 1 plus 2/5 times a half. And that makes 4/5, and this makes 2/10. You see how it gets a little bit messy? That makes 8/10 and 2/10, and that makes 10/10, right? Which is 1. So we got our 1 that way. We could have done that, but it was kind of cool to just go, hey, you know what? I know that if this is an improper fraction, then I got a fraction times a fraction, and multiplying fractions is fun times because just multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms, and you can cross cancel if you want to. So anyway, there are other ways. I mean, I'll just try to. So you would have had, you could have done it, 5/8 times whatever, 3 plus 1/5, right? 5/8 times 3 over 1 plus 5/8 times 1 over 5. So that's 15/8 plus. And by the way, these cross cancel, which is nice at least, and that's 1/8. So 15/8 and 1/8 makes what? 16/8, and 16/8 is 2. See, so that could be that. So you end up with 1 plus 2, 3. Okay, so that is valid. In other words, you know, a lot of students say, oh, I can't remember the way you wanted me to do that. I don't mind how any of you do it, as long as you're understanding what you're doing and you get the actual right answer in the end. It doesn't really matter. And you can do it the long way, you can do it the hard way. Yeah, I think this is a nice, efficient way to do it, but anyway.